Hi, this is Joseph Palmer, the autodidact. It is February 20th, 2023, and this is episode 3.1 of the series Diagnosed in ASPIE. Today I will introduce the topic of autistic masking. Before jumping into the discussion, I have one brief administrative item. I announced some content changes for the channel to improve its quality earlier today. The main thing affecting this episode is that I plan to make my videos 5 minutes or less in duration for the foreseeable future, but release them more frequently. See the video description for a link to the announcement if you want more details. Because the format will be shorter, but the topic of autistic masking deserves more than 5 minutes, I am dividing episode 3 into multiple segments, beginning with episode 3.1. This one, the first segment. Let's get to it because I've already spent 1 minute. What is autistic masking? Masking is synonymous with echopraxic behavior, the practice of echopraxia, or imitating another's behavior. All people, neurodiverse or neurotypical, practice it to a degree because it's how we learn proper social behavior. Young children learn good manners by watching their parents and older siblings. As they age, they also learn from more experienced friends and acquaintances. Yes, as youngsters, we sometimes jump off bridges after seeing somebody else do it. However, in the neurotypical, it is mainly seen in childhood. Most people gradually integrate the copied behavior as a learned skill in their subconscious. It becomes a second nature, instinct, and consequently they rarely use echopraxia after adulthood. Most autistic persons, on the other hand, have difficulty converting copied behavior into instinctual responses. We can and do learn behavior all the time. Many are adept at it, but the learned responses feel unnatural. We must be on our toes observing the social environment and making conscious judgment calls regarding correct social reactions and when and how to initiate a new interaction. This process of deliberate and rules-based behavior to satisfy social norms is what we refer to as masking. Let me say that again. This process of deliberate and rules-based behavior to satisfy social norms is what we refer to as masking. The neurotypical also sometimes practice masking, especially in high-risk, high-payoff social encounters, such as business engagements or diplomatic exchanges. However, they rarely need to mask when in familiar company. Such is not the case for the masking autistic, who, even when in the company of friends and family, may frequently need to control their responses so that unwanted attention is not attracted. Autistic masking can sometimes be beneficial, especially for those navigating bureaucracies and professional circles, but there is a price to pay. During a social encounter, the need for constant vigilance and decision-making results in elevated anxiety and fatigue. Significant energy and brain cycles are devoted to the task, leaving less for other goals, like whatever was the reason for the encounter in the first place. Even little things, like remembering to say hello to a partner in the morning, may induce a stress response. I remember a moment 19 years ago during graduate school when I presented a paper at my first academic conference in Antwerp, Belgium. Arriving at my hotel after traveling there alone, I took a brief stroll around that beautiful city. I still recall the physicality of the panicked feeling from not knowing how to behave in that society. And during my week at the conference, despite being amongst colleagues I felt comfortable with, that feeling never entirely withdrew. With 2020 hindsight, I now see that my inability to mask my undiagnosed autism in that bustling, unfamiliar city caused the panic. For the autistic, masking is a health and social dilemma. A dilemma is a choice between two unpleasant alternatives. Masking means increased expenditure of energy and heightened anxiety. In contrast, unmasking means an increased risk of acting socially inappropriately. Two negative results with no third alternative, the very definition of a dilemma. In this episode, we have broadly defined autistic masking as thus: copying another's behavior to avoid misbehaving, even in uncomplicated social encounters. Two excellent books that discuss masking in depth are Autism in Adults by Dr. Luke Bearden and Unmasking Autism by Dr. Devin Price. I enjoyed both books thoroughly and highly recommend them. On Wednesday, I will publish episode 3.2, in which I fully define the meaning of dilemma and frame autistic masking as the dilemma it is. I will also teach you a coping method, contingency diagrams for cost-benefit analysis of masking in various situations. We may find better ways to decide when to mask and when to unmask. If you enjoyed this episode or believe it will benefit others, please press the like button, share with others, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. This is Joseph Palmer, the Autodidact. Keep learning.